Okay, let's look at homework 1.6, problem number 10. Right, so we want to find the domain and the range of this following arcsine function. Right, so let's do that. Alright, so remember that if you have arcsine, so y equals arcsine of x. Right. Remember that the sine function is not one-to-one, so we have to restrict the domain to come up with the inverse function. So the domain of arcsine is going to be the range of the original sine. So domain would be sine is always going between -1 and +1. So domain would be -1 to +1. Alright, and the range is going to be, remember that the sine is restricted to -π/2 to +π/2, so that this becomes 1-to-1, so that we can talk about the inverse function. All right, so we got that. All right, so we have a domain and range for the original arcsine, but there's some transformation applied here. I'm going to actually rewrite this guy as arcsine of, I'm going to pull out the 4. So 4 is outside and x plus 2. Alright. So there are a couple of transformations applied. So first one is 1. Right. So this is the first guy. Right. And this is our second guy. So here's the second transformation. I'm going to put number 2. Right? And our first one is going to be, so this is going to be a horizontal compression by a factor of 4. Alright, so you're compressing vertically, horizontally. Alright, then number 2, so that's just going to be a shifting, and that guy shifts which way? It actually shifts left. So can I just do this? Shift left 2 units, by 2 units. Alright, then you have to think about, okay, so those two transformation has what kind of effect on the domain and the range. Alright, so here. So once you do the first transformation, this is a horizontal compression. So there's going to be a horizontal change. So it does not affect the range. So range is going to be exactly the same as the original one. So it's going to be a -π/2 to +π/2. Right? But the domain is going to be different because it's compressed by a factor of 4. So everything is 1/4 of before. So it's instead of -1 to +1, it's going to go from -1/4 to +1/4. Alright. Then we apply another transformation. So you shift the whole thing to the left by 2 units. Alright. So again, this is a horizontal shifting. The range is going to be the same because it's not going to be affected, because the range is going to be affected by vertical changes. Alright, so domain is going to be affected. Alright, so we're going to have to move the whole thing to the left by 2 units. So we just have to subtract the 2 from -1/4. So that would be 2 is 1/4, so -9/4. Right, so 1/4 minus -8/4 would be -7/4. Right, so those are the domain and the range of this function g. Right, so let's type it in. Alright, so what we got was, so domain would be bracket -9/4 to negative 7/4. Range is going to be negative pi/2 to pi/2. Alright, so let's submit for testing. Alright, it came back and looks like we got this one correctly. Alright, that's it. I hope that this was clear.